We've got some new data that shows you the partisan registration of athletes by sports leagues. This has been done by VoteHub, and it's believed to be the first of its kind. Here's what's fascinating to me. If you think that these leagues are overwhelmingly Democrat, you are wrong. Now, that's not to say that they are overwhelmingly Republican. They're not. But here's what's interesting. In the male leagues, and I'll explain why I'm referring to male leagues in a second here. But in the male leagues, by and large, you have far more registered Republicans than you do registered Democrats. I bring that up because the league that is led by the most Democrats, I gave you a little hint as to what that might be, is what? You got a guess for me? You're driving to work right now. You're listening on your Alexa. You're listening on the KCMO Talk Radio app. What do you think it is? The WNBA.
Talk about a bombshell.
I know, you can't believe it. You're absolutely shocked. The WNBA is 68% registered Democrats, 30% registered independents, and that would leave about 2.5%, give or take, for registered Republicans in the WNBA. I got to imagine that's a tough putt right now, being in the WNBA as a registered Republican. Maybe Sophie Cunningham is one, right? She might be it. What's her name? I'm blanking on her from up in Iowa. She's been hurt here.
Caitlin Clark?
Yes, I was going to say Caitlin Collins, but I'm like, no, that's the one on CNN. Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham at Mizzou. They may be two of the rare registered Republicans, and I'm just spitballing here. I don't know that to be true, but there's not many of them. Then you go to the NBA, and you might be like, okay, the NBA, it's got to be, oh, man, it's got to be a bunch of registered Democrats. It's the NBA, right? No. In the words of Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. 6 out of 10 NBA players are not registered Democrats. 40% are, 46% are independent, and 10% are Republican. Once again, that doesn't mean that the independents may not vote for Democrats in presidential races or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that 6 out of 10 NBA players feel strongly enough to not identify with the Democrat Party. That's telling to me. You go from there to the NFL. Where's the NFL at? NFL is a little more balanced. 34% registered Democrats, 44% registered independents, and 20% are registered Republicans. NHL, and this is where it really flips on its head. Only 5% of NHL players are registered Democrats. 49% are registered independents, and 44% are registered Republicans. And Major League Baseball, even more so. 8% registered Democrats, 36% registered independents, and then 53% registered Republicans. Now, it makes sense when you think about the backgrounds of each of these sports, right? Major League Baseball, more likely to be some combination of, let's say, white kids from rural areas, or in some cases, suburbia. It is a less urban sport. And then you have a very heavy Latino presence. And let's be honest, oftentimes, as we're now learning based on recent elections, the Hispanic community is much more conservative in nature than I think many in the Washington, D.C. bubble ever realized. And you're seeing a big swing to the right, especially for some of these young men who came from places where, let's be honest, the government ran and operated like people like Zoran Mamdani, the New York City mayor, want to see run and operate. I mean, they come from some of these places in Central and South America where they've tried socialist policies and they failed miserably. They love what America has to offer. In many ways, more than a large percentage of our own citizens do, right now because they've seen it firsthand. Their families have experienced it firsthand. So baseball is this unique combination of what is going to be, young white males who overwhelmingly are going to lean GOP, and then also young Latino males who come from places where they've seen left-wing policies crash and burn. And then the NHL, similar reasons, not with the Latinos, of course, but you have largely white men in that sport. And then from there, it goes down to the NFL, and that's where you can start to kind of split things up and divide things up based on what position they play. And I thought this was fascinating as well when it comes to position groups in the NFL. The most likely Democrat position in the NFL is defensive back. That's interesting. 51% Democrat and defensive back, 46% independent, and whatever's left, 2-3% Republican of defensive backs. Then you go to the most Republican position in the NFL. You got a spitball guess on what that might be?
Offensive line.
No.
Oh.
There are
QB.
6 more positions, more GOP than offensive line.
Really?
Yeah. Quarterback is right next to offensive line. There are 4 more positions, more Republican than offensive line and
Kicker.
quarterback. Kicker's in the top 3.
I was thinking of our own team here in KC.
Kicker's in the top 3. You're missing 3 others. 3 other positions in the top 6 for most Republican positions in the NFL. You got offensive line, you've got quarterback, you've got kicker.
Head coach.
No, on the field. On the field.
Okay.
You don't have to be running backs and linebackers.
No.
Getting down to everybody.
Think about special teams. Special teams.
Long snappers.
Long snappers. Yes, number 1.
Woo!
The most GOP in the NFL.
Winchester.
Is the long snapper. 61% of long snappers in the NFL are registered Republicans.
Let's get Kendall Gammon on the line.
Hey, I don't know what Kendall is. I have no idea. Never asked. Punter's number 2, by the way, at 57%. Then it's kicker. So 1, 2, 3 on the special teams. Let's go. They're special for a reason. Number 4 is tight end. And then number 5 is quarterback. Number 6 is offensive line, in that order. On the other side, the most Democrat positions in the NFL. Defensive back, running back, and wide receiver. 1, 2, 3. So that's where things stack up when you... And listen, let's just be honest. The demographics are what stand out there. Let's not sugarcoat it, okay? The positions that lean most Democrat are largely black positions. Is there a white cornerback in the NFL? Do we know? Has there been one since Jason Sehorn?
Cooper DeJean from the Eagles.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. He's the only white guy in any defensive backfield I can think of in the NFL. And then on the other side, listen, is there a black long snapper? I don't know.
I know there's a punter.
Okay. Is there a kicker? They're all white too.
Yeah, I don't think kicker.
I'm just let's just not sugarcoat any of this.
You got an Asian kicker, Young Wei Koo.
Young Wei Koo?
Yeah, he was the guy that kicked the ground, remember?
Oh, that's right. So a lot of this does clearly break down along racial lines. That's the most obvious thing that stands out to me. But the broader theme is this. If you think like all professional athletes are just dying the wool, love where this Democrat Party is at right now, and they can't wait to go run to vote for Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or, whoever it's going to be in 28, it's just not true. It's not. Now, I'm sure a lot of them are registered independents because they just don't care. They don't vote. Let's be honest. There's probably a lot of that goes on. I'm sure the voting records of these guys are probably not all that high on a percentage basis outside of presidential years. I don't think they're running to go vote for school board on a Tuesday in November after practice. All right. Call me crazy, but I'm pretty sure that's not the case. So it's more about the mindset of these young men. And it's telling that in every major professional sport of men, leave the WNBA out of it. That's its own beast.
And National Women's Soccer League. They're probably right up there with WNBA.
They were not polled, but I don't even want to know those numbers, okay? I have no interest. But of the male professional major sports, the majority of these guys are not in lockstep and not identifying with the base of the Democrat Party. Now, what I would love to see is a very similar poll done when it comes to the front offices. And I don't mean of the teams. I mean of like the NFL suits, the suits in Major League Baseball, their headquarters in New York City. I'd love to see that because we often talk about how the people at the C-suite level are out of touch with where many of their customers are. And that's true for most of these leagues. They are out of touch, I believe, with where their players are at. A lot of them probably just apolitical, but certainly not dyed-in-the-wool Democrats at all. And they're not dyed-in-the-wool Republicans either. But they're out of touch with where their players are at, and I guarantee you they're out of touch largely with where their fans are at. Look at that national anthem scene in Chicago on Sunday before that Bears game. You know, we talk a lot, well, not a lot on this show, but national media talks a lot about Chicago and how poorly it's run and how deep blue it is and all the issues and problems they have there. And they certainly have a lot of them. But when you've got 80,000 strong at Soldier Field, and they're not all Chicago residents, they're from the area, and they're standing proudly for the national anthem, and they're loving every second of it, and you're watching Americana at its finest at Soldier Field, it's a reminder that the fans, the diehard fans to the casual fans, are not in lockstep, politically speaking, with the C-suite level of people that run these leagues. And that's true across the bulk of corporate America as well. And the quicker they can get in touch with their everyday consumer, the better off they're all going to be. Not that the NFL is struggling. The NFL is kind of like recession-proof. The NFL can do no wrong. It really can't screw itself because we're all addicted to it. But the NBA can do better, certainly, on a lot of levels. Major League Baseball can continue to improve. And the NHL has its niche, but they could do better as well. And that's the takeaway on one of the takeaways on this poll that was done and is surfacing all over social media. I will share it on my personal page. Mark, could you share it on the KCMO pages as well? I'll get you the link after we're done here. 913-408-7957 is how you join us on KCMO Talk Radio. What was the shocker of that poll to you? Like, I'm genuinely curious. Some of you might be like, there's got to be more Republicans. They're just afraid to say it. There might be some of that as well. Yeah, absolutely. There might be guys who just say, you know what? I'm going to be a registered independent because I don't want any of this information to get leaked. I don't want anybody to find out. There's definitely a percentage of that may be real. I totally agree. And I've seen some of that on the text line. I wouldn't deny that for a second. 913-408-7957. The president is done in Davos. What was he up there, an hour and a half? Jeez.
Yeah.
Kept it going. Oh, now he's still talking. He's doing now a gaggle with the press. Oh, my goodness. Unbelievable. I see Howard Lutnick behind him, one of his big tariff guys with a big S-seating grin on his face. Lutnick, that guy's on cloud nine. He's like, I can't believe I got this gig. Howard Lutnick always has that look on his face like, I can't believe this guy hired me and I'm here. And I have the juice I do. Every single time I look at Howard Lutnick. He's like, I'm the luckiest guy on the face of the earth. He just always has that kind of look on his face. Good for him. I hope he's having a good time.